All right, Dave. Yeah, we all set? I guess Tony's having some issues with his new laptop.
We've been ready. We are getting impatient. I've already taken my shirt off.
Yeah, and I'm sitting right next to him, so thanks.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. All right. Well, yeah, let's just start going then.
Okay.
First question from Cisco.
Good luck.
Once we finish this audit, how long until we start the next one? And is the next audit the start to uplist to the NASDAQ? We know Q2 of 2022 is right around the corner.
Okay. Looks like a question for me. The audit is on track. We're looking to wrap that up as we discussed earlier. I just heard that they're going to jump right into the reviews for this year immediately as soon as the audit is done. They're jumping into the project of working on the reviews for all the other subsidiaries to get that done. We talked about NASDAQ Q2 of next year. I think we're still on track.
All right. Let's just keep going. We got the next question from Live and Chill. Can you give us a balance of the current cash on hand?
If you look at my personal checking account, I got about $14.75. We always have about $5-6 million on here.
All right. What do you foresee the expenses for the combined business to be? Businesses.
Wanda, our CFO, she just sent me a cash forecast and a budget. I wish I could peek at that while I'm looking at this. That's we with all the salaries and everything, I think I would say our combined overhead expenses with IR and audits and all is probably about $250,000 a month. That's an accurate guess, to the best of my ability.
All right. Next question is about loans. What are the terms of the loan with Dutchess Capital, i.e. interest rate, maturity date, preferred shares convertible to common at 10-1, etc.?
Dutchess Capital is not a bank. They are an advisory group that we just signed on with. They're advising us and helping us with IR, market awareness. They're putting us in touch with their investors. They're helping us get to the NASDAQ, but we do not have a loan with Dutchess Capital. I think they're confused with a private bank that we're working with.
All right.
If I could add a little bit to the Dutchess Capital benefit of those type of relationships, in a lot of ways it's a sponsorship, right? It's going to bring you the additional firepower that you need to get to the next stage. So partnership.
Gotcha.
We're actually having dinner with Dutchess Capital tonight.
Oh, nice. After this?
Pablo's in town, obviously. He's sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
He's tired of the heat in Arizona. He had to come to San Diego.
Yep. We got to make it permanent. It's too beautiful here.
Yeah. All right. Can you go into more detail on the corporate synergy system? Which companies have been combined? Has there been any liquidation?
Well, yes. It's funny you asked that actually. Yesterday, myself and Dave were in Tijuana, Mexico, where we have some interest in and relationships with a very large BPO phone center down there. We've had some lead generation campaigns with this organization. We toured their 3 facilities, and it's a sophisticated group for sure. Completely in compliance with the USA operational standards, and we are putting together an additional joint venture scenario that doesn't create any dilution on our end, but increases our footprint abroad, but it also increases our lead generation capacity. It's a great model we're putting together, and we're going to let the markets know all about it when we finalize it. But spent a long day there, so that's just one example about when we get to in our ecosystem, right, that we talk about, where we have all these different business models that are all related because of in the alternative energy space. And as we get to zigzag through the different business models, we're literally creating new revenue streams And because there are sister companies, the path to get there is not full of hurdles. So multiple in development, new synergy revenue stream creating opportunities as we speak that we're going to be sharing as soon as we can to the marketplace.
Something that just recently happened is we've kind of reorganized Millholland. We cut out a lot of overhead, got rid of a lot of upper management, and really cut the cost. And Millholland is their main operation now is doing the installs for Jason at Future Home Power, and Jason is now doing the sales for Millholland. So we've taken those are the synergies that we create. We take the best of what we have and put it in the right place.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the next question is essentially related. Can you elaborate on any current integration issues from the acquisitions, possible impacts on sales and operations in the immediate future?
I think we just covered that.
If I could add one a little tidbit there, instead of issues, let's rename that to creating new possibilities. It's with these. Of course, you have to integrate and coalesce, but if our numbers reflect the positive benefit. So we're going at a steady, healthy clip. We're not adding anything new, consolidating, and the data is supporting, and the markets for that matter, right? Having your market cap increase 50% in the last 2-3 weeks, I think the markets are rewarding us for our good work.
Yeah. All right. Next question from Live and Chill. EV charging specific companies tend to enjoy high multiple stock prices, and I believe it's because they sound cool, are trendy, and are in direct line of sight of our EV mobile future. Have you, or would you consider giving the EV charging division its own subsidiary name that can turn into a household buzzword for marketing and sales purposes?
I like high volts, amped. I like those words. Those are cool. As everyone knows, we're working on name changes now. We've Solar Innovative Root Corp is exactly what we do now, so it's a great name. We have bought the domain for Solar EV. That is, if we did become more of an EV company, we possibly could change that. So it's a great idea. But currently, we're going to be SRC. SRC's been good to us, so we're going to stick with that.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, and with the EV topic, what are the short/long-term goals for EV charging expansion?
Plemco is our EV division, and they're working very diligently on all the government contracts. I know they're bidding them like crazy. The results have not been where we would like them. Their closing rate is currently not as high as we would like. We have Pablo kind of work on them to help them with some systems and help them expand. But we're trying to expand what we have. We have not really. I've been in touch with a couple of EV companies lately, but we're not, as we mentioned, we're not really in the acquisition mode.
And I'll just follow up on that with Plemco. And there's been thorough discussions, strategic. So for the long term, let's talk about short term money and long term money, right? For the long term money, that if you will, there's $100 million in federal projects bids sitting out there, and we're expecting to land. We have projections on what we think we're going to land, but it's a longer term play. Where we really need to increase their revenues is on the short term money, something faster, quicker. So we're bringing in from U.S. Solar Networks Capital Division funding solutions for Plemco that they didn't have before, so they could jump into the small and mid-cap commercial space. There's a lot of convenience stores that want to get an EV charging station, but they don't have the money to spend for it, or they don't want to spend the money for it. Well, that's where we drive our capital solution. So now Plemco has a short-term commercial solution that's capital driven. It's a package that's going to be going to market very soon. And that's part of the cross-pollination that we're talking about, right? Combining the different models. So lots of goals that we're driving.
Okay, so you're just waiting for the right time. You gotta get everything lined up.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's the infrastructure building that's required. So when you go to market, you have all your I's dotted, your T's crossed. One thing I will add to that we try to exemplify is, we tell our staff we're like the NFL now, right? When you get to a publicly traded scenario and scene and marketplace, you're like the NFL. So we drill, practice, and we do this behind the scenes. So when we hit the marketplace with customers, they have a good experience, and we cover as many what if scenarios as possible.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, that all sounds great.
I like this next question.
Me too. Yeah, Dave, that's for you. Could you walk us through a work week in the life of Dave? Who do you most regularly work with alongside at SIRC? Is there any regular scheduled meeting where a lot of decision making happens? Whatever you want to share to give us a glimpse of the business.
I don't have an assistant. I typically do most of my work from my home office, like probably most of the world nowadays. I work more closely with my dog. She's under my feet most of the time. my life is, I believe, like most, I return emails and text messages probably 7 hours a day. We have a monthly board meeting with the board. We have a weekly team meeting with the team. And then the rest of my time is spent dealing with PR and investor relations and possible new acquisitions and capital raise is kind of publicized, and also I have appointments with my team at their place of business often as well. I go see Jason. I just spent the day with Scott yesterday and Pablo. So it's I stay busy. I'll tell you that. The days start early because we're a public company, and it seems it goes late. But a lot to do, a lot of building. Excited for all the progress we made. I think we went to sleep last night. I dropped Dave off at 10 p.m. So it was all day, all night. We live and breathe this business. It's nonstop. It's our baby. It's your baby. It's all of our babies.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. All right. Yeah, with Q2 preliminary sales being 25 million and June accounting for 10 million and July accounting for 10.5, can we assume August sales came in around 4.5? Why was there roughly a 50% decline month to month?
Yeah, let me try to explain it. So let's focus on what we're talking about here. We're talking about sales. It was the sales of contracts that were signed in any given month. And since we try to be as open and transparent with our shareholders and the world as we can, the reality is that in solar, the industry solar, no matter what, no matter how efficiently you run on a standard on a national basis, if you have about a 20% cancellation ratio as a solar company, you're running really clean. And the reason that happens is that in solar, we have such phenomenal financing that most of our customers go in with no money down. You know, they have there's no liens on the houses. It's 20-year loans at 2.99% interest rates, but they have literally no money into it. So it's really easy for them to change their mind and unwind it. So the initial numbers that are submitted are accurate and true and all have proper documentation and backup, but about on average, and this is a national empirical data reality, you're going to have about 20% cancellation ratios in solar in the national landscape. So the numbers that were reflected on a quarterly basis, they're recalculated and retabulated, and if a sale canceled as an example, well, obviously we can't count it anymore because we're on it. This has to be accurate data. So it's just due to a common solar industry reality.
No, that makes perfect sense. Let's see. So next question is kind of related. You mentioned potential double sales from the 25 million monthly. Can you elaborate on what you believe the timeline looks like for doubling? Do you foresee 16 million per month in the near future?
Did you skip something? I'm not.
I think he's right here.
Yeah, you skipped
Yeah,
it.
we're on. Well,
Okay. You mentioned potential double sale of 25. Can you elaborate? I believe it looks like doubling 16 million per month in the near future. We're growing like crazy, and Pablo himself is probably growing faster than any of us. Our growth rate is easily 40 to 50% per month. During our team meeting today, we had a big meeting about being very cautious about putting numbers out and holding to the numbers until they're actually done and executed. So I can't say that we see $16 million a month in the near future. I think it's definitely a possibility. Because we're growing like crazy. And what I'm excited about is getting cash flow positive. That's what we're really working on now.
yeah, gotcha.
To add to that, the more national joint venture agreements that we get to execute, because mind you, at that point, we're doing business with a large institution that really expands our footprint on top of the growth that we're having. These large joint ventures, the more you see of them, which you will be seeing more of them, because we're inking deals. It's just having a part of like Cirque. We've been part of Cirque for 60 days, and it has just blown up our network in a positive way, where opportunities are falling into our lap left and right. It's really exciting. I'll show you better than I can tell you.
Gotcha. Yeah, so a lot of potential, but
Oh no, more than potential. There's signatures happening. You will see them shortly.
oh, excellent. Yeah, even better. All right. Yeah. So let's go to the next question. 13. Have you come across any anomalies or surprises in the audit that you feel investors should be aware of before it's released?
This is something I mentioned last Discord. Is this audit is being completed for fiscal year 2021. That
2020, is it?
No, it's 2021. February 28th. So we were an entirely different company there. I think that year we did 17 or 18 million dollars that year. So we're sitting there talking about doing 16, 18 million dollars a month, and this audit's going to come out being 18 million. I'm sure all the people are so excited for the audit, saying, "Oh my gosh, they only did 18 million dollars last year." But as you know, that's where we came from, and we've made a lot of strides in the last 90 days, and we've just grown a lot. So the only surprise will be the numbers aren't, these numbers going forward, and the numbers in the last quarter are really changed compared to last year. That's the surprise.
Yeah, and just to recap that, you're going to see numbers for last year's revenues, which is a total different scenario than we're currently experiencing month to month now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as soon as they're done with those, they're not going to wait. They're not going to do that. They're going to jump right into this new year.
Oh, excellent.
And our team, I Bailey and Pinnacle, they work very, very well together, and the synergies are great, and they're getting done. There's been no problem whatsoever that I know of. They might be listening and have a different feel.
All right, so we're back to EV charging here. With the expansion of EV charging, of the EV charging division, have you reached out to any auto dealers for potential partnerships, referrals for EV charging installs?
So there's multiple programs that are rolling out of that. So the short answer, have we started our business to business development? 100%. Are they at the auto dealers section? I'm not sure. We have to dig in with our business development managers there. But yes, we're outreaching. That's really where their business model lies, right? It's all B2B. So yes, 100%. We're bringing, again, new capital solutions, which is everything. Once you drive a capital solution to a construction project or opportunity, your sales capacities quickly double. Quickly. I mean, before there was capital solutions of residential solar, there wasn't residential solar. It wasn't until in 2008 that Solar City came out with the lease program that just ignited the market with the combination of the subsidy. But so we strongly believe by bringing capital solutions to small and mid-cap size commercial projects on the EV charging side, that we're already hearing and getting a great buzz and interest relative to the speed and the accessibility that we're going to have to EV charging customers in the commercial space. These federal projects are just slow-moving beasts, but they're big beasts.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yes, next question. We don't hear much about the board members. Can you tell us a little bit about each of them, what they bring to the table, what type of conversation you guys have, and how many times you guys meet?
We are all in different parts of the country. We have a monthly board meeting. And their resumes were put out when we announced them as board members. Don Pierce brings a lot of experience. He was the CFO or CEO of Kentucky Fried Chicken, of that whole food chain. And Kentucky Fried Chicken could have been a subsidiary. He brings a lot of knowledge. He's about 20 years older than I am. He's kind of the guy I go to and look up to for good advice. Mutha just joined. She's more of the internet person, the technology side. She gives us some good insight there. Scott, who is our president of roofing, known for a long time, he's one of the original board members. He gives us a lot of support, a lot of knowledge, a lot of boots on the ground type feedback. And we just added Jason as well, who is obviously our great sales side of things. So we have a really good balance. We have a great board. We're working hard. We're going to probably expand the board, and we're going to have to as we move up. So that's our thoughts.
Gotcha. You said you guys meet monthly?
Monthly. We have a
Zoom meeting.
First Tuesday every month we have a board meeting.
Do you guys ever meet in person, or?
We get together when they're in town, but Mutha is on the East Coast and Don is in Vegas, and I see Scott and Jason all the time. They're all here in San Diego.
Gotcha. All right. Is there a list of financing and contracting partners that USA Solar Networks has that can be shared with investors?
So one of the most proprietary assets that we have is our contracting network and our financing partners. If you created some scenario, Dave, where yes, but we would, it would require some NDA. We can't let that type of information hit the marketplace. It's one of the hardest things that it takes to build, but 100%, absolutely. And we will be attending a high net worth investor relations conference, I believe, August 11th, 12th, and 13th in LA.
I think it's in October.
It's October. Excuse me. Then in October, on the 11th, 12th, and 13th.
I think it's an emerging growth conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's an age conference.
So we'll have the necessary information readily available to the proper affiliates when they're in the right situation.
Gotcha. All right. To grow and retain members in the USA Solar Networks, why should the sales team, installation contractors, financing companies, material suppliers join and stay with this network instead of its competitors? Do you have a retention percentage that you can share with us?
So, great question, and let me explain the model, if you will. In solar, throughout the entire industry, it's always you can always reverse engineer the business models to the capital. Where does the money flow? In solar, it flows from the contractors out to the rest of the industry. We are the only company that I know of where the capital lenders and the financiers fund through USA Solar Networks, and then we think of us as the developer, right? So we manage the process in between the sales teams, in between the contractors. There's a lot of administration functionalities that need to occur in order to make certain that that the closing processes are occurring correctly, the proposals are done correctly, that we're protecting the population, that sales companies are using accurate numbers. We're protecting the sales companies to make sure that the contractors aren't adding a bunch of costs in the construction. We manage the entire process, and in that management of that process, we bring in sophistication, because really, if you look at what has made up my career and our team's career, is structuring capital, 24 years of licensed contracting, always having juggernaut sales organizations. It's really like my career kind of through Divine Intervention was structured specifically for this type of model, which aligned perfectly with meeting Dave. I don't know. It's uncannily just a perfect fit. And our business model is unique in the industry. We are the only company that I know of where the funders fund through us. And why is that? When you structure the level, I mean, I've literally put together hundreds of millions of dollars in solar projects, capital for solar projects in the alternative energy space. And you learn to structure scenarios that the capitals trust. Little things like documentation that all matches, right? Processes that are aligned with specific checks and balances that they're looking for. So it was a hard pull convincing these financing companies to move the capital from what they were accustomed to, which is the contractors, to our unit, but they see the benefit because we don't sell, we don't install. We're the management in the middle that manages the processing. Think about us like Airbnb, we're the infrastructure that connects the service providers and the customers, and everybody loves us for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pablo gave me a kind of I've been a roofing contractor for 32 years, and he gave something that just made a lot of sense. And if I would have met Pablo 30 years ago, I would have ran my business entirely different. Installers can install and sell, people sell. We did both. We sold and install. And these guys get to focus on what they're good at. So the installers, if you say, listen, if you join our network, we'll give you all the installs that you need. You don't have to worry about sales. If you need 5 deals a week, we can give you 5 deals a week. It just, when you get the right partners that have the right needs, you can just fill in the blanks and have the network grow. That's kind of the easy way to look at it without using all of Pablo's big words.
I love it. I love how Dave makes it palatable.
No, of course, that all makes sense. I've worked on some job sites, and depending on who specs it and who supplies everything and documentation, you learn to like certain companies, and others are terrible. If you don't give wiring diagrams, that's a huge thing.
For our business model, our customers are actually the sales companies and the contractors. The customers they create, we as a service, customer service the whole program, and we're the national guarantor of everything. So if one of our relationships, our customers being sales companies or contractors, do not perform, we step in and drive the solution. So again, we have a national footprint. We're the national guarantor. We service our customers. They create an end user, and we service that for them too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, so next question is about stock. Can you elaborate on the basic ideas behind the share buyback plan? Do you have a target high and low price you're willing to buy them at? Do you have a buy window? Have you already started? Are you buying dips?
The buyback plan, everyone is, that's a big question a lot of folks have, and everyone would love to see us do it, and we would like to do it ourselves. There's some regulations in place that we're governed by. One is we got PPP money, and we cannot buy back stock until our loans are forgiven on the PPP side. And according to our attorneys, we cannot buy back stock. You see like Tesla or some big companies buy back stock. That's because they got hundreds of $1 million in the bank, and that's what they're doing with the money. While we're still raising money and growing, for us to do a buyback, it would mean that we're trying to affect the stock price, and legally we can't do things like that. So our plan is hopefully we get this loan that we're talking about, the $25-50 million loan we're looking at with the bank. And if that happens and the PPP money is forgiven, and we can put a program together to buy some stock back from some of the folks that have it and some of the places we think we can get it. But to really do something like that is pretty difficult at this level.
You've got to go about it the right way. Let's see. All right, so we're right about halfway. Do you think that adding a keyword such as energy or technology to the end of the new name would help define SIRC business sector of operations and help Wall Street and analysts classify it properly when we get listed to the NASDAQ. And then he's got a few examples of companies.
I think it would be difficult for us to change our name to a technology company. I know a lot of people say, "Hey, you got to get in technology. It would add to your multiple," but we are not a technology company. We're in the energy business and we're in the service business. So, I think.
Well, he did say energy or technology.
Yeah. We are playing with some name changes possibly at NASDAQ. As we grow and we get more defined, we'll fill in that blank.
Is SIRC currently working with companies like iRoofing or Quativa to simplify the communication between sales teams and installers by using mobile apps?
Okay.
On the roofing side, I know that Scott is working very closely with a company called GiddyUp, and I know that I think Jason works with, what's the name of Jason? Podio?
Sonobi, Podio. So the answer on both sides is yes, 100%, absolutely, and expanding and growing. So as you shared, roofing has their technology they're implementing. On the solar side. As much and as often as possible, we remove the human error element by using technology specifically created for our industry. Solar Nexus, Podio for our sales companies, Solar Nexus for our construction and proposals. On the commercial work that we do, it's software specifically created for our industry. Energy Periscope, Helioscope. So all these things are industry specific and 100% yes is the answer.
Gotcha. All right. So to add to the question before this one, to add to the share buyback question, will the buyback be for preferred shares or commons in the open market too?
We have done the buyback on Brian shares. We bought Brian shares back. We're doing we're buying back some of mine as well. And those are preferred shares.
Okay.
But I'm not going to the extent that Brian did.
All right. Back to the audit. Are the auditors on track to meet the promised date of October 6th? Can you give us an update on the audit?
Last I heard, the audit's going well. Everything's on schedule, and we can't, as long as we don't run into some unforeseen circumstance, we should be on track.
All right, perfect. Are there any specific implications of the infrastructure bill you expect SIRC to benefit from?
Resoundingly, yes. So one of the great things that allows us our bandwidth in a very big way is legislation. We follow what we call the solar wave. Solar is not completely legislatively available in many states. So as locations turn on net metering or turn on a subsidy or turn on something that allows us to penetrate a marketplace, we certainly do. And that infrastructure bill is going to 100% help us on the EV charging side. I mean, really the whole gambit of what we do. It touches everything that's in there. The energy grid, the upgrading of the grid, lower carbon footprint. Okay, there's mandates in there that are gonna expect lowering of the carbon footprint on here in the U.S. Okay, well, the most prolific way to do that is solar. The highway work that they're going to be doing that helps Flemco. Across the board, it helps almost all of our subsidiaries. And another cross-pollination place, when you combine a roofing membrane with a solar system, the roofing costs all become open and available to the subsidies. So again, another cross-pollination place. So in short order, all over the place, that infrastructure bill is going to help us with new revenue streams and additional revenue streams.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, similar thing happened in lighting, like 10 years ago, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Manhattan, you needed to automate all your lights, and that industry blew up. So
I was 100% before we got into solar. Actually, the way we got into solar Well, two ways was from our general contracting company that we had at the time. We took a bid at a big golfing resort to build their sports academy, and whilst doing that development and project and and the pre-construction component, they wanted a solar bid. We gave them a solar bid. In the end, they didn't even want the solar, and we still built the sports academy. But that's how I learned about solar. We were already doing energy efficiency, and we got to benefit from that exact moment that you're talking about, my man. We're catching lighting retrofits all over the nation.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's. Oh, okay. Next question. Here we go. What should we expect out of RoofCon later this month? Anything you could share about how it benefits SIRC as a whole?
So actually, yes, there's a new development that we're going to be sharing shortly. USA Solar Networks is going to be joining its sister company Balance at RoofCon, where we have one of the center stage locations. Back to our national roofing to solar program, we're going to be converting roofing companies nationwide and helping them create a new revenue stream by joining the solar wave. We're going to bring them business in a box, teach them how to sell solar, and they're going to make a lot of money in the process. Additionally, when they do that, they can then use our financing tools for their roofs. So it's a great, the best term I can think of is cross-pollination, right? We're just, this helps you, this helps us. We can create another model, new revenue stream, and we're going to be smack center in the stage of it, signing up roofers to move into solar left and right. We have really strong projections, and it looks from what we're hearing that it's going to do great. We've already joined 3 of these different type of events, and at every event that we went on, we onboarded many roofers are already being trained to come into the solar space. We're already doing commercial jobs for them. We're already doing residential jobs for them. We're already starting to reap the benefits. That's why, as I said at the very beginning, we're inking deals left and right. We can't even write up press releases for each major event because it would lose its impact.
It would sound like hype.
It would sound like hype. Genuinely, that's how exciting it is.
I know I've seen the RoofCon thing posted a few times. What day is that?
September 30th to October 2nd.
Where's that located? Maybe I'll try to swing out with you guys.
Orlando, Florida.
I could probably make it work.
Come.
All right. Keep going. Okay. On the last Q&A, you commented that the audit, which will be released October 6th, will only include SIRC as it was 2/28/2021. Yeah, okay. You basically answered this, but it was said that all the SIRC subsidiaries had to be included as it is a SEC requirement. Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, yes, we can get to the QB with the audit that we have now. To get to NASDAQ or get to SEC compliant, we have to have all the subsidiaries audited. That's why we paused the acquisition piece. That's why we're trying to go through the step of getting this audit done, get it up to the QB, and then over the next probably 90 days, we'll start tackling the large task of auditing the rest of the subsidiaries. Fortunately, Wanda and Bailey has done such a great job of getting our books and our back office in place. It should be a pretty seamless process.
Sure.
It's always been, in the past, that piece has been my Achilles for sure. It's much stronger now.
All right. Yeah. Next question is directly related. Can you tell us what subsidiaries have fully finalized the audit process so far, or like a percentage or something?
Well, none of them have been fully. The audit is not done, but the subsidiaries that are being audited are the original ones: Secure Roofing and Solar, Milholland Electric, McKay, and I believe Montrose.
All right.
But that's also as a preparatory expectation and just in order to make it more efficient, we are preparing the rest of the subsidiaries. And there's a lot that goes into these SEC audits, a lot. So all the pre-work is occurring in order for them to be fluid and pass with flying colors.
Gotcha.
Though that's never happened.
All right. Being OTC still, how do you think the new rules and regulations will affect SIRC stock at the end of the month?
So we're looking at that. We don't know what the new rules are until what the new rules are. But whatever they are, we're not worried about it because we run a really tight ship. We have tons of checks and balances in order to make certain that the information that we share to the marketplace is accurate. We are constantly creating more infrastructure to allow for our businesses to run more efficiently. Troy and Matt and Wanda have done a great job at centralizing some functions that run more efficiently at a central basis, right? Instead of having 13 different accounting companies and services, we're centralizing all that into one unit. So it's consistent growth, but it's process and procedure based, and we're not worried about whatever rules they come out with. We'll be prepared for them.
Awesome. Next question is for Pablo. Could you give us an update on the status of the litigation with SING?
Sure, absolutely. I shared with all of our shareholders I think was it a month ago, a real detailed historical chronological sequence of events as to why, from my initial demand letter as to why I had sued those gentlemen, and since then everything has, and as far as I'm concerned, has fallen in our favor. We've been to court several times, and everything again has fallen in our favor. Now it's just I just want to unwind and have them buy me out, and then I never have to deal with that scenario again. So everything has gone in our favor. We're good. The one term that they got was that we couldn't call our old customer list at that organization, and that's 100% fine. Why would we want to? We don't need to. We're killing it over here, and we're happier than we've ever been. As for those that don't know, when I left, the entire company quit over there and decided not to continue with that team over there, and they came over with us. So we're happy to have them.
Awesome. Yeah, that all sounds great. Realistically, I see that question probably is going to be asked every Q&A until it's done.
Sure. We generally don't have anything to worry about that. We don't worry about that over there.
Yeah, that's good then. All right. So which areas of the country have sales percentages been the greatest and the worst? What barriers are hindering you from closing sales in the problem areas?
Sure. So let's start with when we go with sales. If we're talking about, for a lot of intents and purposes, what you're going to see is roofing and solar are going to be combined into basically one unit. When you're doing a roof, you can always use the capital that solar brings and put a solar system in there too because of all the subsidies in place. So sales, a lot of the sales are based on subsidies. What are the best incentives, where and how? And then a big, very important thing is cost of energy. If you have a location that has a very low cost of energy, let's say somewhere like Louisiana, it's cheap electricity over there, but how can we make it work? Well, there's incentives that you can try to pop into a location, things of that nature. But and then there's the legislation in Tennessee. There's no net metering yet. So it's hard to make solar work over there because you don't get credits for the solar you build. So it's very regional. Cost of energy is very relevant, hence why some regions work better than others. And barriers at closing sales, we close. That's the one thing we do. We close sales at a good national average. But legislation is key and important, and the cost of energy is always going to be key and important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Kind of goes back to that last question that we were saying, if they pass more legislation and it's required, then you're going to do better in that area.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Give you an idea where Cornerstone is in South Carolina. They have a low cost of energy. I believe it's like 14 cents And compared to Southern California, we average about 30 cents.
Oh yeah, wow.
They're an ideal, it's a great program for us because they have, not only do we have the 26% federal tax credit, they have a 25% state tax credit. So they can do a roof solar project and technically get a 51% tax credit on the project. So we have, there are some questions coming up about advertising. We just put together a $50,000 a month budget for Cornerstone to really, really push the solar. We anticipate getting the solar sales in that area up to $1 million a month, doubling the sales for Cornerstone. So we try to spend our marketing dollars in the right place. So I kind of answered two questions at once.
Yeah,
And number
absolutely.
30, where does USA Solar Networks advertise? Again, think of who our clients are. Our clients are the sales companies and the contractors. So we advertise. We have to go through a different type of advertising, if you will. You know, we're not on the TV and radio. We're doing B2B business development.
And what's worked out best are these networks that we ran into with SVG, as you know. I mean, that's been the big boost for US Solar Networks, is getting Pablo hooked up in the roofing community, which he was kind of tippy-toeing in, but with our ties to the roofing community, it really helped.
It is such a blessing I mean, CERC already has the relationships, and when we bring our solutions literally to these roofing and solar conventions, there's a line. There's a line of roofers that get in line to talk to us. It makes me feel real popular.
It's a unique business model. We actually have people paying to come see us, and we charge for these. So I think, what are they, $4,000 of that? Yeah, 4 to 10, depending on the level you go into. But we have people come to pay and to come do business with us, which is a model I'm not used to, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, wow. I think the only advertising related question we may have skipped was, does SIRC have a specific advertising department?
That's kind of a threefold question. Well, we have the subsidiaries obviously all do marketing in their local areas. As we did a press release a while back for buying Approved on Pro that's getting kicked off to this is advertising for getting leads to generate business. As far as advertising SRC, we kind of call that market awareness or IR. We have a lot of folks we use for that. We use MZ obviously, and we have we just hired MediaTek. So those are the things we do for SRC. So the market awareness and advertising are kind of two different beasts.
Gotcha. Yeah, you got to keep them separate. All right, next question. In regards to your press release announcing the partnership with SVG University, will you develop new coursework for solar installation, and how will this be used to steer these companies to SIRC?
Good question. So the first answer is 100% new coursework will be occurring. I don't know if it'll be for solar installations. It could be if we find a clientele base there, but really we're really driving the roofers onto the sales side. There's too many potential pitfalls and that a roofer could run into becoming a licensed installer, but becoming a sales company, they're phenomenal at that, and they already have great sales organizations. And but is there going to be more coursework? Absolutely. As SVG has recently found out, we have a big commercial capability at USA Solar Networks. I mean, our commercial pipeline is in the millions, 5 million plus, I believe, right now since we joined the forces 60 days ago. And we have the capital solutions to drive to any SVG client. So you're going to be seeing commercial solar opportunities in their new coursework. So 100%. And by being the solution, when we're SVG's partner and we drive the solutions, what we get the business on our end. We want to be there. If they're bringing on dealers, we want to be their installers. So we drive the other side of that network solutions. They bring in dealers. We bring in the material. Actually, we bring in the capital, and we bring in the installation. So we cover a big need over there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the coursework is huge. All right. Are you able to discuss the terms for the new SVG partnership, percentages for each side, any shares or cash involved on either side?
Sure. So any deal that we ever get involved with, before we execute, all components have been realized. Everything is contractually based. Our team, prior to coming and joining CERT, we've been passing audits for years. So we know exactly what we need to have in line from a document preparation, analysis, from the everything that they're going to want to see these audit teams we have in place, but it really keeps us in line, and we have structured programs. So everything is realized, everything is contractual. We have a great relationship with SVG. Everybody needs to make money. Everybody's going to make great money. And are they getting any shares? No. So no dilution occurred in any capacity to that. Was there any cash? No. Everybody's providing their services, and we both get to share on the fruits of it, the fruits of our labor, which is new customers.
All right. I know you mentioned you're not trying to give any projections, but could you give any guidance on the amount of revenue / sales we can generate next year from this partnership with SVG University?
Am I allowed to say so?
That's a slippery slope we're trying to avoid, but I think go from a deal standpoint.
Without giving any numbers, I guess, just...
How the heck do I stress?
I mean, I think we agree that we think we'll get 100 deals a month out of this partnership with Anthony.
So
yes, you guys are feeling good about it.
One deal averages about $30,000 a month. They think they're going to bring us about 100 deals a month from what they're seeing, the empirical data they have. So we didn't say number. That's all I said was 100 deals of 30,000 each. That's all I said.
And that's kind of the first tranche. I mean, as we do more and more events with him, I think we can grow that. This is the very beginning of the partnership with SVG. Okay. Anthony is he's kind of a legend in the roofing industry. He has like 1,500 roofers that follow him. He's like a nationwide guru when it comes to teaching. He teaches door-to-door sales. I was at his office last month with Pablo, and those virtual glasses, the virtual things you put on your head.
Augmented reality or like virtual reality.
Yeah, one of those that you put on, it kind of shows you on a roof, and it shows you what to look for on a roof. He's state of the art. He's top notch. He's showing. I used to think I knew a lot about roofing. I realized the more I go through this, the more I get involved with more and more people, I realize the more and more I didn't know. but he's the real deal.
Well, I mean, you never want to know everything because then you can't learn new stuff. All right. Next question's from the same user. Could you give us an update on the licensing agreement with the generator company? $50 million from a private bank and Duchess Capital.
The generator company, he's in Scotland. He's Scottish. He's out of town. I thought I'd meet with him this week. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be next week. The $50 million with a private bank, we just signed a term sheet this week. We're still in process. I think that's moving forward nicely. The numbers may change to speed things up. We don't really need $50 million. We don't really need any money, but it will give us a lot of flexibility for acquisition when we get through the audit and grow and possibly do a share buyback. And it gives us the flexibility that we need to obviously be on that. NASDAQ would be nice to have $50 million in the bank. So that's moving quite nicely. He's ready to get it done. That's just capital deal. I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit. That deal is signed. We're doing a press release on it probably next week. Pablo and I are having dinner with one of the partners tonight. Very excited. After this, it could be a late dinner when this is done. But they're going to be very, very helpful to help us grow for market. They're just a huge group, and just for someone like Duchess Capital to even want to partner with us we're just really, really grateful for that.
It speaks volumes to where the maturity level is naturally escalating for CERT. Duchess has been around for many years, and they have a great reputation. So we're really excited for that opportunity. Great work, Dave. That's me patting his back.
All right. Could you provide a bit more insight into Plemco's activities and sales and the percent size of EV revenue of the total SIRC revenue? And how big of a role do you foresee EV charging for SIRC in the near future?
It's a natural fit for us in the space. You know, with US Solar Network and Peak Zone Power, our solar side is really blowing up. Plemco is working really, really hard. We have to get him some help to really get the revenue where we want to be. That's Pablo's role. He's gonna give him some good guidance and hopefully get some sales folks over to him, and with his capital access to capital, I think it would really help. But to be frank, the EV sales side is not a very large piece of our revenue at this time, but we hope to grow it.
All right. Is there any strategic plan to increase commercial roofing / solar side of the business? What percent of the business do you want to be non-residential by this time next year?
My goodness. So I love shareholders are asking some good questions because I think you're reading our minds, or maybe this is just the commercial roof and the solar side of the house is, I mean, as our roofing relationships find out that we have these capabilities, we're pitching them daily. We're pitching them daily. Literally just signed a $3 million project the other day because of this roofing to solar opportunity. And most importantly, that we drive the capital solutions for it also. So it's growing every single day. Anthony DeMonico, who is a marketing genius, just called me last night. And he's been a licensed contractor for 20 plus years, like myself and Dave. And he's like, Pablo, this is the most exciting thing I've ever said. Sorry, Anthony, I got to quote you. This is the most exciting thing I've ever seen. Are these subsidies real? And you can use them in roofing? I'm like, yes. And he's going through these proposals with us, and he's like, but why didn't you tell me 2 months ago when we were working on the residential? I was like, Anthony, yes, I did tell you. You're always talking. Yeah. So he literally is super excited about it. And he knows it's going to crush it with his roofers. It is crushing it. And, at their events, we have the biggest lines. So, I can share that the SVG relationship and partnership is only going to continue to grow. So, more for you to learn about that soon enough. This first press release, did it go out already?
We're done today.
Oh, okay.
It's happening.
Right. So that was the first version of us doing business together. 6 states. We're just in New Orleans with SVG. There's a lot of damage down there from Hurricane Irma, and the level of contractors. We had an event at a Ferrari garage dealership thing. It was gorgeous, and we had 100 contractors there lining up to speak. We were the biggest opportunity that we could bring some capital solutions and commercial solutions to the roofing space. And the way that we combined it, it's really unique, and it's being very well received. Like I said, and I just don't know how to visualize and paint this picture besides let me show you by actual signed agreements, and there's just so many opportunities that we have to pick and choose what we show because we just need it. It won't sound real anymore, and it is real. So, as far as what percentage of business do we want to be non-residential by this time next year, we allow opportunity to create itself. We create the space, and opportunity falls where it will. But if we're at a 50-50 clip, we'll take it. If we're at a 60-40 clip, we'll take it. We're not going to pass up on good business. Now, at one point in my career, would I have had to maybe pass on big commercial opportunities? Sure. They don't cash flow themselves very well, but hence why we partnered up with Solar Integrated Roofing. They have great access to the capital markets. They can raise capital when they need to, when we want to, when it's smart to raise it, because we're not just going to, well, that's not true. I think you should always raise capital, but we always have a place for it because of the level of business that is being created. And, Dave had vision and he saw our vision and saw my vision. And together it's just, the numbers are speaking for themselves. I can't say it any other way. The numbers speak for themselves. Data's data.
That is what the attorneys would like for us to do. Let numbers speak for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, sales are sales. I mean, the percentage doesn't really make a difference. Okay, yeah, back to stocks. When was the last insider purchase of stock? How much and by whom?
As the press release read, we bought Brian Mullen out, who retired. We bought his 5 million preferred, which are we convert to 50 million common. We're trying to, we know going to NASDAQ, getting the share count down is key. I'm actually selling a couple million of my preferred, and that's going on as we speak, just going through the process. And that's 20 million common.
So selling back to the company.
Yes, selling, but the company's buying them back. And we're going through that. So that is part of the share buyback. I know everyone's excited for the share buyback, and if legally we can and we get this infusion of cash, we are going to, I think it would be great for the company and great for the shareholders to lessen our outstanding shares. And we will do everything we can to do that. But we have to stay in compliance and we have to keep the attorneys happy. Because I've been getting in a little trouble lately.
Can't have public in trouble.
Can't get in trouble with the attorneys. All right, is National Car Charging, NCC, the EV charging company SIRC is trying to reach a partnership with?
Yeah. We that's something that we cannot discuss.
All right.
Maybe not discussing. I know of National Car Charge, and I know the guy, but we spoke in the past, but there's nothing going on right now.
All right. Fair enough.
We have an NDA in place.
All right. Another partnership question. Pablo mentioned a possible partnership with SEIA, Solar Energy Industries Association, a while ago. Any update on that?
So SEIA is one of the largest, working on it as we speak. What level of association we're going to have. So hasn't been finalized. Hope to have that finalized soon. Going to dig in with my business director and see where that's at.
All right. Will SVG be working with American Contractor and Contractor Coach Pro, or will they be participating in separate educational events?
So American Contractor and Contractor Coach Pro, I believe they're reanalyzing their strategic path forward, and but no, they would be completely separated. Different type of programs right now.
Different personalities and definitely their
approach.
They're competitors for sure.
All right. All right. So this next question, the user says, my wife's family is from El Cajun and Rondo.
And Coronado. One's East County, one's Coronado Island, which is the most beautiful part of San Diego. Shareholder get together would be great. We're actually a member of the Morgan Run Golf Course. It's a great facility to have get-togethers. We could have a shareholder meeting there, and all that want to come could come. They have a hotel there, and we could all get together if you guys like. We could put together. In the spring should be a lot of fun. We can have a NASDAQ get-together there, and we'll buy the champagne. And Pablo has good taste. He buys good champagne.
Oh yeah, we're gonna run on the golf course.
That's my bad on the pronunciation. Never been to.
They're hard.
Never been in California. I'm not a shareholder, but I would love to come.
It's an unbelievable day. Chamber of Commerce Day here. 85, sunny, not a cloud in the sky.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Did we ever learn anything about the website hack around the time the share price plummeted and then recovered? What do you think was behind that? Thanks. I don't think hack is the right word, but like the website takeover.
I don't know, just bad people. I don't know if they were in the marketplace and try to hurt us are just bad people. I know there's bad people everywhere. I can't stand them, but
Yeah, I would assume
I got
you
through
can
it.
get a list. You can get a list of like recently unpaid domains. I would assume they just saw the site, saw traffic, grabbed it.
I'm actually, it was, I'll take the blame. I'll be the first to admit I'm the world's worst record keeper in the entire world. That's what I'm not good at because I get torn in 25 different directions. I'm not very organized. I don't have a personal assistant. I do everything myself. And I lost the password to the website. But the girl that finally said she had it, we reached out to her, and I'm at the time when MZ was redoing the website, and for some reason we didn't get it from her, so I don't know exactly what happened. But bottom line is we're through it, and stock prices rebounded nicely, and
And we're
we
moving along.
continue to keep pushing the up button.
All right, next one. All right, they're saying I skipped number 5, so I'll jump up to that. Oh, yeah, no, I definitely did. With the rapid expansion to having a footprint in over 40 states after recent acquisitions, are there any future plans to expand outside of the U.S. in any capacity?
So, again, great question. I swear, the shareholder in our brains, we were just in Mexico. January 1st of this year, Mexico, let me share some information. Mexico is like California in that it has expensive electricity. The grid goes down all the time. It's a great solar if you're a solar company, that's the top things that we look for. Grid goes down, expensive electricity, home run. But until January 1st, laws were in place in Mexico where utility companies could tax solar companies, and that's what they did. They taxed them to the point where solar wasn't economically beneficial anymore. So the only solar penetration that really occurred was people that were following that green wave and cared about climate change and whatnot. So now, as of January 1st, there's laws in place that have clipped that capacity. So utility companies can no longer tax solar customers unduly, and we're expecting a huge solar boom to occur down yonder. Already, I can share that we are sourcing financing partners that are willing to cross the border. We've actually been talking to a couple of resorts down in Puerto Vallarta, so definitely looking at Mexico. Puerto Rico is always an option.
Actually, MZ's in Puerto Rico. Oh, they're prime candidate. Did you guys hear Pablo say down yonder? Down yonder.
I was down yonder.
All right, let me just find my place. Here we go. So investors can have an idea of new shares being issued every month or quarter. Can you share the bonus structure for anyone, including the sales team, who has potential to receive shares as a bonus?
I can't. Everyone has incentives to earn shares. Future and Power does. I know Pablo does. I know Balance Claims does. All the executives have opportunity to earn more shares. To tell you what those programs are, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But it's all results based. So if they're earning shares, mean they're doing something great for us.
Mm-hmm. So to add to that, each subsidiary has a leader, and that leader is creating programs for their business and their business model. So those that minutia details is at the subsidiary level, but as and I can attest this as it being a fact, the way that Dave has us make them structured, it's all production based. If someone's getting shares, that means you're getting $1 in shares, you're getting $2, at least $2 back in cash. So it's always going to be an upside win for our shareholders, for Cirque shareholders.
Right. All right. The next question I'll save for the end. So let's skip that. What terms are being discussed with the bank for the $50 million investment? Preferred shares, other?
It's a pretty complicated transaction. This guy's one of those smart guys that when he talks to me, my eyes roll back in my head because I don't understand everything he says. But It's a stock swap of the bank shares with our preferred shares. So it's not going to be a loan. It's going to be an asset sitting on our balance sheet. How those things work, I'm still getting the details, but we will not issue any shares to do the transaction. Again, we don't really need the money. It'd be a nice transaction. He wants to invest, and he feels like his bank will invest and support the company. So any good partnership, we're always excited to get in with. So it would be good for the company. It's just that we're not actively seeking to raise capital unless it's a good deal for all.
Sure. All right. So on a prior call, you mentioned both a private bank and an institutional investor. Can you elaborate on the institutional investor?
I think that's a little bit of confusion. They might be thinking of Dutchess Capital. A lot of folks thought Dutchess Capital was investing cash into the business. It's a partnership, an advisory partnership we have with Dutchess. So we just have a private bank.
All right. I made my first, next user says, I made my first purchase of SIRC in February of 2016. He doesn't recall SIRC's PR/marketing firm at the time. However, this firm had mentioned that options would be granted to those who invest $10,000. Can you elaborate on the availability of these options?
I don't know anything about it. I was obviously around PR marketing firm. I don't know who that was. I don't know anything about that program, so I cannot.
All right. Something we could possibly look into.
Yeah. But thank you, though. That was a very risky investment back in February 2016. I've had a lot of sleepless nights since then.
All right, so I'm going to skip the next question. You've already answered that a couple times. All right, so this next user says he's in touch with several roofers getting estimates done on work he needs. How can I link them up with you to offer solar services?
I'm in touch with several roofers getting estimates. Sure. If there's ever, if there's ever any business development, let me share this email. Brian, B-R-I-N, Brian at USA Solar Networks, USA Solar Networks with the S, plural.com. Email Brian at USA Solar Networks. He's our Chief Revenue Officer, and all contract origination opportunities sourced through his department. So email him and he'll guide you into our processes and procedures.
All right. Our next question is semi-related. So this user had a solar system in 2011 from a competitor. Will SIRC take on customers who have a competitor's solar panels installed, specifically to remove the panels and tile, lay down new roof, and then replace roof tiles and replace solar panels?
Absolutely. The Orphan Solar Systems is a service department that we have, especially with our local subsidiaries. And here in Southern California, solar companies have come and gone. There's many Orphan Solar Systems out there that what we're doing is we're creating what's called I've been doing this for many years with my roofing company. As an annual inspection, we'll come out for a very small fee, a couple $100. Inspect your roof, check out your solar system, clean your solar system, and hopefully at that time you guys keep our number and keep calling us for roof repairs and anything you need. So we would love that's a service business model that we do have in place.
All right. And next one. Have you held your first solar educational event yet? And if so, how did it go?
Yes, we've had, we've been invited to attend a few of them. So we've been to, I believe, 3 each time. As I shared in the previous question, inadvertently answered this, we had the biggest line of all of the different, let's just say, vendors and or relationships they had there. We by far had the biggest line that, of individuals that wanted to speak to us. So much so that SVG, as I've also shared, I pretty much answered this question just earlier, as they're super excited about the partnership, and phenomenal success. It's already bringing projects.
Sure. I know you basically answered the next question as well, but if you want to just give a brief answer, please explain the benefits of partnering with Duchess Capital and what the partnership entails aside from the cash advantage.
Again, they are not a bank. They're not loaning us money or giving us money. We're taking their experience and their contacts in the marketplace. They're going to support us with their investors and market awareness, and they just have a lot of experience. So they're the public world. Pablo and I are both contractors, so we have some good. It's a good resource for us, and they're going to help us get to where we're trying to be.
All right. Do you target installations in Southern Florida where HVAC building standards apply? If so, are you aware of the insurability challenge developing in Florida for residents with solar installations? To limit exposure to insurers and eliminate any potential risk, Florida must be a large market. If you are unaware of this developing challenge, it is something to investigate.
So Florida is one of our biggest markets. One of the components of our business model is that we bring on into our network of contractor solutions regional experienced individuals from that location, because as you shared here, code changes on a per region basis. So all of our Florida installation licensed and vetted companies that we onboarded know their code and their NSC code, and all the different codes that one could deal with. They know it because they live there, and that's what they work on. So they're the experts on that scope of work.
All right. Could you clarify that you will use part of the $50 million from the bank towards common stock buyback and also towards the EV acquisition you mentioned before?
We've talked with an EV company, a couple of them. We don't have any of them teed up really close to closing. Like I said, we've kind of paused acquisitions, and the stock buyback, again, we have to get approval from the attorneys. But we do see some opportunity that we could buy some stock that has been issued to buy it on our open market. According to our attorneys, it's a challenge. It looks like we're trying to affect the stock price by doing that, and we can't really we can't approach it that way. We have to. Excuse me, my phone just rang. If possible, we will, and we'd love to. But I just need to get approval.
All right. Next question. EnerivSolar.com states, Eneriv now offers the Tesla Powerwall, which means we offer a customized solar plus battery solution. Tesla announced in March that they are halting Powerwall sales and that are not part of Tesla solar installations. What is the actual battery storage source?
So for when it comes to batteries storage, we have really pretty much a full gamut of all the top tier manufacturers. Enphase, so what's the LG, some Tesla relationships, but that, we'll see where that one materializes to, especially if they're cutting off availability. Generac. So we have access to everything, and we just drive the right solution to the right customer depending on what they need.
Right. And have you guys been approached for getting bought out? Would you even entertain this possibility for the right price?
Of course. We have had a conversation with a large NASDAQ company just recently. And if the price is right and they could get us a NASDAQ, and we would definitely entertain it.
Right.
I mean, this is the USA, baby. Everything's for sale.
So aside from the typical stock buybacks you typically see in publicly traded companies, can and will SIRC make an announcement that they, the insiders, will buy X number of shares? Will you ask your legal counsel this question? We have seen this done with a number of other companies when it's done publicly at market prices.
Okay, we'll check with the council.
All right. So I will try to just copy that question. We'll get that one in the next Q&A. All right. Could you also clarify?
When we started, we had 40 questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was, we were probably at about 48. Something like that. Could you also clarify if you have a sense that the PPP loan will be forgiven? For example, if you have submitted the forgiveness paperwork, how much money could this mean for SIRC if the entire amount is to be forgiven?
They give you 24, 26 months to spend the money that time have not elapsed yet, so we have not asked for forgiveness. We received quite a bit of PPP money because we're so labor intensive. It's based on your 941 reports. I believe, for round numbers, we got $7 or $8 million.
Next is Duchess being leveraged to get to the NASDAQ.
I don't know if leverage is the right word, but they are going to be our advisors helping us get there.
All right. And when will SIRC finalize the new name for the company?
We're still working out. We're still getting our exact direction. Again, we purchased Solar AV. That's what's kind of it. We're going to figure out what's going on with the generator and the licensing agreement next week. And if that goes through, we're going to be a national energy company. That could be the direction we go. And that way, the previous question about having energy in our name, we would accomplish that as well, which I like. But apparently, Solar Integrated Group Corp tells us that's exactly what we are, especially as we get these relationships with SVG and start all these partnerships with these roofing companies. That was kind of the vision. Where SIRC started was about 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I think. I got into the solar business. I had a vision that every time you put a roof on, you put solar on. And that's kind of where SIRC started. And then I saw how Pablo always refers to the financing, where we can put a roof and solar system on here in Southern California, get them low interest financing, and their payments are typically less than their electric bill. So they almost have SDG&E, which are a local power company, behind their solar and roof. Yeah, solar and roof form. So that's where the solar concept came from. That was my brainchild back when I was young, and I had a lot more brain cells.
All right. Yeah. The next question is related to 60, essentially. Instead of an open market buyback purchase, could you make an announcement that X common shares will be retired? How long will it take for council to get a figure out their position? Oh, how long will it take the council to figure out their position on this issue? Yes, stock buybacks affect price of the shares, but it happens in all instances.
Again, I think that according to what my attorney told me is we would have to have excess capital. Again, if we got this capital infusion of $25 or $50 million or whatever it's going to be, we had excess capital, and we could say, listen, we got this money to do what's best for the company and the shareholder. We can do a stock buyback. That would be the ideal opportunity, and I feel like we could get approval for that.
All right. And could you clarify what the $50 million will be used for exactly? What does this mean for SIRC? Is this the excess capital you mentioned earlier?
Yes. And again, stock buyback, more acquisitions, possibly retire. We don't have a lot of debt, but possibly retire a little bit of debt. Again, we plan on that. I'm really surprised I haven't got a question about this. We really think at the end of this quarter, we're going to be making a profit and be cash flow positive. So raising money is not, we don't spend a lot of money. Our biggest expense is auditors and Eide Bailey to get past this audit. That's a pretty expensive process. So we keep our salaries down. We keep our costs down. We're doing a good job with our money. And we're going to start making our own here pretty soon.
All right. Yeah, here's the question I skipped. I feel it works pretty well at the end. Is there anything you're excited about and want the shareholders to know that we haven't touched on in our questions yet?
I keep touching on it. I'm most excited about us turning a profit. I think this quarter is coming, and we haven't had a question on that, but as you can tell, that's what I keep going to. If you look at all these companies out there, these big companies that are trading at much higher multiples than us and much higher revenue than us, and they're not making any money, I just think it's sad. I think it's unfair to the public and fair to our shareholders not to do this and not make money. So that's what I'm excited about, and that's what I'm most proud of. We're going to turn this thing into a cash profit center. And Pablo's done a good job of leading the way.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. And to add to that, if as Dave has come on with this massive vision, it's really and as we're working on the consolidation of it, you're going to see the data that's going to support everything that we're saying. But for ourselves, when you have an ecosystem like the one he created, there's unknowns in there. We sit down sometimes and the synergy, it's like little energy buzzing everywhere because wait, you can do this here and I can do that there. Boom, new revenue center. One place that I would really like to see us that we've started talking about, the great thing to do with that 50 million, well, the money's in the money, everybody. How about we create our own finance tool, right? Then we make money on all the paper there. So we've had these conversations. They're evolving. That's if we can own the capital, you own everything. So there's one for you.
And the bank we work with, it's a private bank. They really, really are excited to be partnered with the SRC. And I spoke with him about possibly getting us our own lease, our own PPA. And he said, we'll try this. This is our first step. This goes well. He's open to all opportunities. So that, as Pablo said, that would be huge. That's kind of the Sunrun model. Sunrun is, they're the largest solar company in the U.S., but Sunrun is the bank.
And we have the 100% wherewithal to do it. We have experience doing that model, and everything is here. Dave just has to say, go up. Here we go.
All right. Looks like we got one last question submitted there at the end. Will you announce if September was profitable as soon as you know you are cash flow positive?
And I'm probably, I would like to, as long as, like I said, I've been getting a little trouble lately with the auditors and the accountants and the attorneys. They think I'm being too open with our numbers and our success only because I'm so excited. But it takes a while for the numbers to get gathered up and combined and sorted through. But I think I don't know if we'll make an announcement, but you might be able to hear me screaming from my rooftop.
You'll be hearing all of us hooting and hollering.
All right. Well, I mean, I think this Q&A went great. A lot of good questions. We definitely went over our time a little bit. I apologize we started a little late, but again, I think it went great.
Good deal.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And we just want to say we really appreciate our shareholders. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we should do. Thanks so much. Hopefully, I wasn't being a little bit too silly today. I thought you were funny.
No, I think it worked out pretty well.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much. We got dinner with Duchess.
Here we go.
Second shift. Whew.